Meditation. You know, it's one of those times of year that causes the most anxiety and stress, but you can learn how to control your body, how it reacts to everything that's coming at you with yoga and meditation. This is Chris, the yoga doctor. Thank you so much for being with us.
Namaste. Thank you for having me again.
Wow. What's the importance of, there's music that's playing, there's stillness. How does that help us to be able to control our minds and bodies?
Our minds and bodies are controlled by our thoughts and by the external stimuli that we receive from our environment. So if we have soft music playing, that sound vibration is able to affect our brain in a way that ordinary stimuli may not affect it. We're affected by all of our five senses: our touch, smell, breathing, sense of seeing things. That's why we're just so activated by the sounds. You can hear a beautiful song and it'll affect you in such a way that it might even bring you tears, or relax you, calm you.
So music is powerful.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you go online, there's all different kinds of music for meditation. Is there anything in particular that you as the yoga professional find that's more stimulating?
There's actually certain sounds that have been shown in scientific studies to increase certain types of brainwave production. So
wow.
An alpha brainwave state is what you get from the meditation process. And that's the same type of brainwaves that are produced during deep sleep or just totally restful body state and mind state.
Can you show us some poses? What are some of the relaxing poses that can, like at work today, everything seems to be all on your shoulders.
Certainly.
And you need to go in the bathroom and take a moment.
Certainly.
Okay.
So something easy that we can do at work or throughout the day anytime. I always like to begin with some shoulder rolls, just gently rolled in the shoulders, getting the circulation going to the neck. Before we do any type of stretching, we always want to get the body warmed up and coordinating our breath with the movements. We'll find just by the simple act of breathing that we become more relaxed. And let's switch directions.
Okay.
Throughout our busy work days, we have a tendency to breathe very shallowly, only using the upper part of our lungs. But through the deep breathing, we get the entire lungs involved, and it actually massages our organs the deeper that we breathe. And we'll feel that sense of calm coming over us with each breath. So let's just take a few deep breaths, bringing our hands to our heart center.
Okay.
Feeling our heartbeat, listening to our breath, listening to our breathing. Just take a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply in through the nose. And then exhale out through the nose. And with each breath, you'll feel a more and more gradual sense of calm coming over the body. It's the conscious breathing that does the relaxation and reduces the stress. We'll find that several minutes of conscious breathing can be just as relaxing as a good night of sleep in that sense of in that state of meditation.
It's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
It's wonderful.
Because throughout the day, our body automatically breathes for us just out of necessity to stay alive. But when we actively focus on the conscious breathing, that's what brings the benefits of reduced blood pressure, reduced stress levels. It combats the effects of aging. It actually affects places in your brain that will slow down the aging of your brain.
You've told a little of your story before, but what brought you to yoga? And you are in love with it. I know that you're sold out for it. You're going for different levels of certification.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What brought me to it was a book by Russell Simmons called Do You, and it's the 12 laws of achieving success and happiness in life. And I read it, and I read about his story and how he came to it, because he had a pretty rough, start in life. He was, out on the streets doing all sorts of things, but he came to it, and it totally changed his whole way of thinking. Yoga changed his life.
Because traditionally, I think, from at least in my worldview, it was something that wealthy women did.
Really?
Yes. It's like, oh, they go to yoga class.
And they must know something.
Yes, but now you see that it's throughout the whole community. Let's breathe deeply, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about yoga for your parents. A lot of us are going to be responsible for older parents, and he's becoming certified in teaching yoga to the
seniors as well as kids.
And those children with ADHD, we may be able to, to calm them down.
Certainly.
Okay.
I'm staying.
When we come back, we do have those tickets to give away to see Sid and the Science Kid, a year worth of flowers from Ann's porch, and more yoga. We'll be back. We are back with Chris Wilkes, the yoga doctor. He's becoming certified to teach some groups that traditionally may have not sought the benefits of yoga. How about the elderly, your parents, and likely good candidates for yoga, maybe your children? We do have a caller on the line. Thank you so much for being there, Molly. How are you?
Hi, Dee. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Speak up just a little bit. You're a little low, but
Okay.
What's your question for Chris?
You know, my husband is retired from the military. He's had like a back surgery, a couple knee surgeries, so he's constantly in pain. Do you think that yoga would be a good way for him to strengthen his back and knees?
You've
Or
come
his
to the
body
right
overall?
person. You have come to the right person.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
To be perfectly honest with you, Molly, that's actually the main reason that I started doing yoga, because I used to be a bank teller and I used to have poor posture when I'd be sitting all day. And over time, it got so bad to where I couldn't even bend over the sink to brush my teeth in the morning. So I actually got started due to back pain, and it's tremendously helped with that. It's totally reduced and gotten rid of my back pain. I have stronger lower back muscles. As you can see, I'm sitting up pretty tall and upright, and it's just, you know, a habit of constant yoga practice and study and focusing on improving the posture and the strength of the muscles and stretching them out. So yeah, it'll definitely help heal it and restore the back mobility.
And I'll tell you this too, Molly, if you're still there. I'm not sure if she is or not, but my son is a student of Chris's, and it was his lower back issues that led him to yoga. And he says, Mom, you know, I can feel, it's almost as though he says he feels the straightening and the posture. And it's like a fix. You got to get that yoga fix,
right.
you know, because you can slip back into some bad habits. But the elderly, you are getting to the point where you want to be able to teach them?
Yes, ma'am.
Why that population?
Because I see the need for it. I work actually also part-time at a doctor's office, and I see so many people with limited range of motion and limited mobility that I know could totally benefit. And I've heard so many testimonies just in the trainings I've gone to. There's been many older people that do practice and do actually teach. You know?
And look at this. We found some pictures of people we
Yes,
thought
ma'am.
would never do this. Grandma doing
ma'am.
what was that, the upward dog? Or
That was
what?
the upper dog, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
upward dog. Okay.
So what it does is it helps to bring the health and healing power back into our hands, and it puts us in a state of mind to where we become strong in our bodies and our minds and get accustomed to our body weight, so we don't have to walk around with canes and walkers, because we're able to get up easily because all the exercise is body weight.
Oh, it's excellent. Let's get Carl. Good afternoon, Carl. How are you? And what's your question or comment for Chris, the yoga doctor?
Hey, Dee, I was wondering, is it true that when y'all do yoga, y'all praying to like Indian gods and Asian gods?
I'm not sure. That was kind of low. Were you able to hear that?
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear
Okay,
you,
I'll tell
Carl.
you what, give that question, because that volume was really, really low. Give it to our producer, and he can bring that out there to us. But children, how can yoga help children also?
Children, it also helps with children by helping them to relax. It's able to help them focus more.
To focus, yes.
And you know, it'll reduce those symptoms of like maybe ADHD, things that you might see like that in kids, because it's a very conscious body-mind exercise. You're stimulating both sides of your brain. You're becoming in tune with your breathing, And when you tell children to focus on something like that, it helps to bring them to a more mindful state of awareness that helps them to relax and calm down and find out that, you know, they can find
sit in
that
school
calm
and be
and
still.
sit still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the question, and I guess you probably get this because we're in the middle of the Bible Belt. It says, the caller said, do yoga people pray to Indian or Asian gods? Are you praying to
And that's a
foreign gods?
very common misconception. Yoga is not a religion. It's more of a science of just becoming the best version of yourself. Simply put, it did originate over there in that area where Hinduism is very popular, and that's where that common misconception comes from. But the ancient Egyptians did yoga, and it's been done by many religious backgrounds.
And what it is consciously learning, because I love the Lord, and I'm not praying to any gods, and I take your class, and He doesn't ask us to. But I'll tell you what we do. We learn to get that mobility in the arms, and you're able to stretch and do things you couldn't do before.
Exactly.
And you find yourself just walking around, sitting up straight. I had someone at a party the other day say, Dee, you have great posture.
Right.
I said,
That's the
yes,
yoga.
and you feel so much better. And part of what's happening too in the abdomen is that you're not sitting up straight, that big old pooch.
Yeah,
You know?
and when we're sitting in our desks at work, we'll have a tendency to hunch over, so we'll find that, you know, our muscles will begin to conform to that shape.
Yes.
And you see older people, they'll begin hunching over. But yoga, it helps to open up everything. There's a lot of exercises that open up the heart, open up the chest, and increase that range of motion and mobility in the body.
Well, let me ask you this. Someone who's watching, they say, okay, Chris, I want to get started. How often should I do it? And is this something that can fit in my budget?
This is definitely something that can fit in your budget. There's free YouTube videos that show yoga. If you want to come to a class, my class is only $5. How often you should do it? As little as one time a week will show benefits. But you know, as you increase your practice, of course, you'll get more benefits over time.
You know, something I saw the other day too was football players. You know, you think of them as all, they just want to do things that are so physical and hurt someone, but they're finding the benefits of bringing their bodies back into alignment because they have been beaten up and pushed around, and it calms them down. They were talking about the rage sometimes, that they come up with this rage in order to play the game, and they have to come back down. So football players.
For football players and athletes, yoga is actually a prophylactic for injury, meaning it will help decrease the possibility of injury as well as, you know, help the body heal and recover, because what it does is it stretches out the muscles when and warms up the muscles first before doing that. So when your muscles are more stretched out and warmed up, then they are able to function better. They have more potential energy. It's just like a rubber band. When you pull a rubber band back, the further you pull it back, the more it's going to sting when it pops something. And it's the same thing with those muscles, so it makes a stronger athlete as well.
Wow. Before we go, meditation. What is the power of meditation? Now, again, I meditate, and I meditate on things that I feel are good for me. I'm not meditating on a on a God. So the power of meditation, if I didn't meditate, I'd be insane.
Okay.
Yes,
so
that's true.
So simply with meditation, it's just focusing on your breathing. A lot of people think that you have to be totally absent of thought. The fact of the matter is that when you're meditating, you know that thoughts are coming and you're just an observer of those thoughts. So you'll say, okay, I see this thought is coming, and where the stillness and pure silence comes is in the gap between those thoughts. So you'll say, okay, here's one thought. It's like a river flowing by of thoughts, and each thought will come and it'll go, and then maybe another one will come. But every once in a while, you might find a point where you're like, oh my God, there's no thought, but then that's a thought. So, but you get that peace of mind. It reduces your blood pressure, reduces the heart rate. It just totally relaxes the body by going within ourselves and focusing on our breathing and taking that quiet time. Only 5 minutes, 1 minute a day. Just gradually build it up.
And they can follow you on Facebook?
You can follow me on Facebook, The Yoga Doctor.
The Yoga Doctor. Thank you so much.
Yes,
he is
you're
my
very
yoga
welcome.
doctor. Okay. And we'll be right back after this, because it's time right now for you to call. We're going to give away tickets to see Sid the Science Kid. Call 706-569-9390. Call right now.
I want to know why things happen and how, and want to know everything now. Oh yeah! How does this thing work? Why does that stuff change? How does that